Chelsea Football Club still believe they can get the deal done for Victor Osimhen, but only on their terms, and I'm going to explain to you what their terms are. Victor does not like it. Romelu Lukaku, decisive day in regards to his move to Napoli. Antonio Conte wants him. There's a huge meeting. We've got the details. Furthermore, Raheem Sterling has accepted his fate and decided to collaborate with Chelsea to get himself a move out, all from reliable sources. And then we need to talk about the mainstream media. Sky Sports have put up 13 players that are training away from Chelsea. They said it's worth £300 million of assets. And when I tell you who those players are, it's hilarious because everybody's trying to paint Blueco in a horrible light. And you know what? I'm not going to allow it. And the reason I'm not going to allow it, it's not because I work for Blueco, not because I'm getting brown envelopes, not because I love Todd Bowley and Igbali. It's because I don't believe it's fair. They've given us Joao Felix. They've given us Pedro Neto. They are trying to go get us Victor Osimhen, who 90% of the chat wants. So the fact that they're investing, I'm never going to be critical of that. But what is happening to them now is absolutely unacceptable, and I will get into it. And honestly, I'm going to have a little bit of a rant because I feel like I need it, and I need to defend the club because there's so much doom and gloom about the club that I don't believe is warranted. I genuinely have said this in my prediction. We are going to finish third this year. People don't like it. People are telling me I'm drinking the Kool-Aid. Okay, we'll see at the end of the year. You will come here and say you were right. But before we get started, hit that like button. 1,000 likes go a massive way. Subscribe to the channel. It's the best way to support the channel, honestly. And tell your friends, right? Hit that share button. Let's get into it. So our favorite Italian is talking about transfer news again. And for those of you who don't know who our favorite Italian is, Fabrizio Romano. Fabrizio literally has all of us on strings when it comes to May till September. All of us refresh his page religiously. We go to our favorite YouTube content creators. In this case, yours is clearly me because you're here. But all jokes aside, we're all like getting the information from him, and we're basically relaying it to you, and we're explaining it to you in a different form with our opinions on top. And what's happening? Well, he said, look, the Chelsea deal for Victor Osimhen can only happen under Chelsea's conditions of it has to be a loan. Napoli want to sell. Victor Osimhen doesn't want a loan. So essentially, we've got a little bit of a situation here, right? Because Victor Osimhen is going to have to realize at the end of the day, he does not want to stay at Napoli. No one else is offering the money. We know, like Keep said, PSG do not want to go and pay the money for him. Even though Gonzalo Ramos has become injured, they're not paying the money to bring Victor Osimhen. Arsenal are not looking at Victor Osimhen. They are not interested in signing the player. All of a sudden, what does that leave him with? Saudi Arabia or Chelsea Football Club on loan? Chelsea believe, on the other hand, that the closer we get to the deadline, the loan starts looking more and more attractive. Osimhen might change his tune, and Chelsea will get a favourable deal that suits them more than anyone. So this is why I've said we are going to have to wait. We are going to have to be patient, and we are literally going to have to talk about this for the next 9 days religiously, because there's going to be more and more information that comes out. You're all going to want to hear it, and I'm going to have to talk about it. So the reality is, let's keep an eye out on it. Fabrizio also went on and said, if it's not Victor Osimhen, could Chelsea go back in for another striker? And he said the one that he thinks Chelsea could potentially go back after is John Duran. And the reason that he thinks is John Duran is because Chelsea are very high on the player. Chelsea wanted the player earlier in the summer, the move didn't go through, and they are very keen to potentially secure the services of John Duran if they don't get their experienced striker. For me personally, this is a very interesting one. I don't know whether John Duran is the long-term solution. If we didn't have Nicholas Jackson and we had an experienced guy, I would want John Duran. But we've got Nico. So then the question arises, is Duran worth the investment where he comes in and competes with Nico? Because Duran is a finisher, but we kind of want something that is a little bit more proven. Hence why a lot of people are saying Victor Osimhen. And you know what? The more I think about it, you lot, I've really changed my thought process on this. Victor suits the club. He suits what Enzo wants in terms of pressing, in terms of movement to generate chances, in terms of his aerial ability. The problem for me is I just like my strikers to be doing a little bit more outside of the box. But Enzo doesn't want that, and Enzo's in charge, so we got to get Enzo what he wants. It is what it is. In regards to our striker that's sitting on the sideline at the moment in Romelu Lukaku, well, there's a decisive meeting going on in London today, according to Di Marzio. And Di Marzio is saying that Napoli are keen to get this move done. They've got a massive meeting with Chelsea. They're going to push to get this deal across the line. And more importantly, Chelsea want to get this done as well. Look, we know that Fabrizio Romano has said Chelsea are trying to get this deal done. But what I'm going to tell you now is I feel like this move is entwined with Victor Osimhen. I genuinely believe Chelsea are going to drag this on. They're going to drag it and drag it. Antonio's going to start pulling his wig off. You know them ones. He's going to go back to his bald days because he wants Romelu Lukaku back in his team. And what's going to happen is one of the teams is going to cave. One of the teams is going to, either Napoli pay us more money for Romelu Lukaku or we pay money for Victor Osimhen and not insist on the loan. Something is going to happen. It's who's going to move first. We haven't heard anything regarding this meeting. We haven't heard any additional outcomes after this meeting. We don't know if it's even taken place, if it happens this evening. We will find out. When we find out, we will talk about it, because the reality is that meeting is integral. Romelu does not want to play for Chelsea. Chelsea do not want to have Romelu at the club. Napoli are itching to get this man to the club. So the reality is here, all three parties want the move. And if all three parties want the move, it's a matter of just agreeing the terms and conditions that allows this to happen. That's my personal opinion. I think the quicker we get this done, the quicker we get Romelu out on a permanent basis. I don't want a loan. I don't want an international spot taken up. I need this done so we don't have to talk about Romelu Lukaku next year. Finally, in regards to transfer news, Raheem Sterling apparently has had more clear conversations, and this is coming from Sammy Mokbel, and this is a very reliable journalist when it comes to Arsenal news, Chelsea news, Liverpool news. He tends to be very accurate, a lot of detail in what his stories are, and he's expressing now that Raheem Sterling's had clear conversations with Chelsea, and both player and club are on the same page. So the club has decided to strip Raheem Sterling not only of his spot in the first team, they've also taken his first team number away. They've given it straight away to Pedro Neto. They've done the same to Trevor Chalobah, and they've given that number to Joao Felix. And now I think this is kind of wild, right? What they did is, in my opinion, just wow. I couldn't believe they did that, because the audacity to do that, it means there is no way back for you. Like, I'm telling you now, you're not coming back into the team. You might think you can stay until September and then we'll reintegrate you. We're not doing that. For me, it is a little bit out of order, but this is the industry, guys. I think you need to understand, when players hand in transfer requests, we get angry. Sometimes clubs want to get a player out, and this is the way that happens. This has happened to so many footballers. This is part of the industry. They get paid huge amounts of money, and yes, it doesn't make it right, but they're compensated for this. They're compensated that your life could be on edge. It's in the public media. You're going to have stories written about you. There is demand in your industry. And at one point in time, either you're going to want to leave or we're going to want you to leave. And that big money, you're still going to keep receiving it, but you're going to have to move. And sadly, that's just the industry that we all love. We all watch it religiously. Raheem Sterling has agreed, and he's looking for an alternative. I was listening to Simon Jordan today, and Simon Jordan actually made it very interesting. He said Raheem Sterling won't leave on a permanent. He's more likely to leave on a loan, because it protects Chelsea's financial book. Because if they sell Raheem Sterling and it's not a nice fee, and it's like you let him go for free because of his high wages, it hurts them on the balance sheet. What they're most probably going to do is loan him out somewhere. Someone pays half of his wages or a big sum of it. Chelsea take the hit on a balance sheet that is a bit smaller, but Raheem goes away with a loan fee or a loan option to balance the books in some way. That kind of makes sense to me, but I am not a financial savant by any means. So it is what it is. Now let's get on to the final story, and this one, I can't lie to you, really annoyed. So for a lot of you that don't know me and don't know the way I grew up, right, I loved Sky Sports News. Like, genuinely, transfer deadline day, my birthday's on February the 1st, right? So every 31st of January used to be massive. I used to come home from school, I used to put on Sky Sports, and back in the day, right, there used to be a yellow bar. When that yellow bar was sliding across your screen, this means things were happening. Like, genuinely, this was important. And I remember one birthday, right? It was the next day was my birthday, and we got got Torres and we got David Luiz. When I tell you Chelsea got me the best gift at that moment in time, I was moving mad in my bedroom. I was running around like a kid. I don't remember how old I was at the time, but for me, that was like mind-boggling investment from Chelsea Football Club. Genuinely, I remember we were third at the time. I was plotting how we're going to win the league. I was like, yeah, Torres up front, he's going to get us goals. David Luiz fixes defensive issues. So for me, I used to love Sky Sports. But what Sky Sports at the moment has become has really annoyed me, because Sky Sports isn't my YouTube channel, right? Sky Sports has huge investment behind it. They've got huge ability to attract not only the best content creators to go in there and make a difference, they also have sources and reach to talk about stuff that is important. And when they make stories, they should, in my opinion, have quality stories behind it. And what we're hearing in this story that we saw today, right, was 13 key players are not training with the team. And for me, this is just bang out of order, because if I list these players, right, Kepa, Chalobah, Ben Chilwell, Lukaku and Sterling. Kepa wasn't at the club last year. Lukaku wasn't at the club last year. Ben Chilwell hardly played. He's not a key player. Sterling, you could argue, is a big name. And Chalobah, right? Those five, a lot of people last year would have said 4 of them are dead wood, we need to get them out. So Chelsea are doing something about it. They're actively getting them out the club. Whether you like the way they're doing it, they're doing something about it. If I go through my comments, I guarantee you from post-match reactions, there will be people that were actively saying, get Sterling out, he's a bum, get Ben Chilwell out, he can't pass. I've said it. So how can I be critical of Blueco for doing something about it? They're cutting the squad down. These are high earners that aren't good enough for the club. Lukaku doesn't want to be here. Kepa Arrizabalaga doesn't want to be here. So why are Sky Sports including them just to inflate the number of players that aren't training with the first team? Furthermore, they've included some players, right, to make up these 13, 8 of them. That is laughable. Tino Anjorin. Tino Anjorin is a youth player that came through the ranks. He's going to be leaving the club. Alex Matos. Alex Matos was a free signing that went on Huddersfield. They're looking for a loan. They're potentially selling him. David Washington, I can get that one because Chelsea invested £15 million into David Washington. His career is really stagnated. I feel sorry for him. Angelo's recovering from an injury. He came back from Strasbourg after a loan. Okay, you can talk about him. Armando Broja. Broja's got to move to Ipswich, imminent any second now. Why is his name being mentioned? Any second, you know we're getting £30 million for a free signing that came through our academy. David Datro Fofana. Fofana came to Chelsea for 8-9 million. We've got 2 loan fees for him. And more importantly, he's en route to being getting sold. So can we stop with this? Bergstrom. Bergstrom is a youth goalkeeper that's come through the academy. And finally, Harvey Vale. Harvey Vale is set to leave the club soon. Why are we talking about 8 arguably youth players that would never have a look in at this club allegedly? And then we're talking about 5 experienced players because they're big name and trying to make Blueco be this negative institution. Whilst I think Blueco's not perfect, Blueco has made so many mistakes. I can literally make a whole video of what they've done and how we've not done things properly, how we're rushing things. But they're not this worst ownership. Liverpool have got a new manager and haven't got him a brand new signing. Ineos have come in and literally haggling with money, trying to get the Ugarte deal across the line. Arsenal, 2 years back-to-back, they've come second. All of a sudden, they don't want to invest the money that they need to invest to go win the league. They've been crying out for a striker. Where's that investment into the striker? They've been crying out into a midfielder. They're going and getting a £40 million midfielder from Sociedad, their third choice midfielder. Why is the investment not there? Manchester City is the only institution that I look at and go, you know what, their owners are so much better than us. In England, genuinely, I think we have got owners that want to pay money and get things done. The only problem with our owners is the execution hasn't been right so far. And we will see at the end of this year whether the execution in the 3rd year has been right. And then we can judge. At the moment, I think people are just being too negative. The media is making it a bigger deal. And more importantly, rival fans are jumping on our necks and we're ganging up against our own. I'm not doing that. I'm sorry, I'm not having it. So hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. I will be watching the Conference League tonight. And I hope you lot watch that reaction tonight. It'll be a double upload today. Peace out. I'm out. Have a lovely day.